Hello and welcome everyone. If you're tuning in live, drop some comments. Let me know that you're here with me. I literally gave no warning, no heads up. So I can't imagine there'll be too many people here present with me. But if you're catching the recording, today I'm just making a fun video and just to share with you some of the things that I am working on as we get ready to close out the year. So first and foremost, I want to give a huge shout out to the PBD podcast. It's a awesome podcast I've been listening to for years now, hosted by Patrick Bet-David. And he's got a crew of people around him like Tom and Vinny and Adam and others that come on the podcast. They cover business, politics, news, entertainment. It's a mix of a lot of different things. And the thing that I get the most value from is business and economic related news that I use in my own practice when I'm coaching my clients, just staying informed with what's going on in the world globally and also here in the United States, what's going on in different states. I have clients all over the US. So any additional edge that I can get to help my clients improve their personal finances, achieve financial freedom is something that I will continue to do. And the PBD podcast is one of those places where I can like pop in, listen to the different news and stories that they're going to cover. So they have a pretty good structure with every podcast. When they first start, in the first like 10 minutes, they'll literally say, okay, here's all the stories that we're going to cover. And I just listen to the first 10 minutes. If I'm not really interested in those particular stories, I'll just hop off, click on another podcast. They'll say, hey, we're going to be covering Florida property taxes. State of Florida wants to get rid of property taxes. The governor wants to abolish property taxes. What does that mean for Florida residents? Well, I'm a resident of Florida. I own a home. I have clients who own homes in Florida. I have clients who have vacation homes here, who are planning on retiring here, and we get to strategize on what that could look like for their cash flow going into retirement. So a lot of cool different things there that I have just, enjoyed. And as you can see, I'm like valuetainment PBD gear down right now. As you can tell, I am a bit of a fanboy. All right, this particular hat right here is a very collector's item. It's the very first hat they launched where they did a limited amount of hats. So this is only 200 of these exist, and I have the fourth one. Let's see if you could see that. Yep. So I got the fourth one, 4 out of 200. This is probably worth a few $1,000 to be honest. From sometimes they'll show other hats that are on eBay for like $10,000. Kind of crazy. So I'm gonna hold on to that. In addition, this shirt that I'm wearing, a very collector's item, as well as this little pin right here, basically says that I was at the very first live PBD podcast event here in South Florida. So in addition to their podcast style that they do, every so often, maybe like they've been doing it once or twice a year for the past few years, where they literally host a live podcast and they'll have like 200, 300 people show up, throw them in a room. They're doing a normal podcast style, touching on topics. And then once the podcast is over, like before and after, they'll do like Q&A. It's really, really cool idea, very unique. You never see that being done with any other YouTube channels out there. So that's cool. I've got my little shot glass right here, coquito, to get me through the day. Not that I'm a drinker, but my wife made coquito last night and it's pretty fire. So why am I making this video today? Two things. Again, give a big shout out. Thank you for all the work that YouTube channel, the podcast, the whole future looks bright mission and vision. Really appreciate that. But the valuetainment company recently did a Black Friday special where if you spent like $250 or more on merch. No, I think it was more than that. It was like $500 or more on merch, then you would get one of these gold boxes. Pretty sick. It says the best never hesitate. Pretty sick setup here. And the story behind this, just so you know, this is another shout out to their team behind the scenes. Their customer service process is pretty awesome. So the story behind this is I listening to the podcast, they announced this. Hey, Black Friday special, this is what we're doing. If you spend $500 or more on our merch online, then we're gonna send you this box, and then there's like gonna be a golden ticket inside of it for only 10 of the boxes out of like 100 or something like that. And it had a bunch of different additional rewards. If you don't get the golden ticket, there's over, I think they said over $150 worth of merch inside the box on top of what you're already spending. So I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. I need to up my merch game. It's been a while since I was, since I bought some of their stuff. So I go on and I'm kind of picky. I don't typically just buy merch just to buy. I like to buy things I'm gonna wear, I'm gonna use. So I bought like 2 collar shirts, 2 t-shirts, and something else. The price came out to like it was under $500. But I spent about $300 on merch. So it was under 500 bucks. But then I bought the business planning workshop, which is the second thing that I'm going to talk about in this video. This Friday, Patrick Bet-David is hosting a business planning workshop that he hosts once per year. It's a live event, but you can also watch it virtually. So that's what I'm doing this year. 2 years ago, I purchased the recording of a business planning workshop, and I got a ton of value from that. So this year, I'm going to be attending virtually. They have 2 ticket options because their in-person is already sold out. You can do the $297 option, and then there's a $997 option. So this year I did the $997 because I thought the the way he said it on the podcast was spend $500 or more on our VT website, Valuetainment website. I didn't know it was $500 or more on merch only. So I buy my $300 worth of merch. I purchased the $997 business planning workshop ticket virtual. Total over $1,000 spent on the website in a day. I'm thinking I'm gonna get this box. I look at my order, this is not included on it. The box is not included. I reach out, I say, hey, just, I know you guys get tons and tons of orders. Am I included on the mystery box? Yes or no? I spent XYZ. And they responded, no, unfortunately, it was $500 or more on merch. So I'm like, dang, I really don't want to spend $500 on merch. I mean, I'll buy a course, something that betters my education, but I bought what I wanted. The 2 collar shirts, 2 t-shirts, I was pretty much like, that was my threshold. And then I was like, cool, understood. I didn't know. Thanks for clearing that up. Time goes by, I get my first order, all the things that I originally ordered. Then I get an email saying that my order has been updated. So updated, I'm like, well, I didn't buy anything else. And then this golden box was on the order. So I was like, that's pretty freaking cool. Like, I wasn't even expecting to get this because I didn't necessarily follow the rules, but I did spend over $1,300 in a day on, like, I was probably one of the first people to take advantage of the offer. I'm pretty sure I was because he was announcing it live. As he was saying it live, I was in the freaking cart ordering stuff as I'm listening to the podcast. So they went above and beyond. They didn't have to do that. So now here I am making this video saying, you know what, really appreciate that. And I'm just going to show you all what is in the box. All right. So we're going to go like this. Future looks bright. I'm telling you, this stuff is just pretty sick. And like I said, they said this box contains over $150 or $200 worth of merch. When I tell you they went above and beyond, like they went above and beyond. So I'm just going to open things little by little. So we got the Valuetainment mug. This one is sick. It says business is war. And for those of you who know what that means, you understand. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a W-2, you probably won't understand. But as an entrepreneur, you understand what that actually is saying. Business is war. Then we've got some little, little magnet. Future looks bright. Future looks bright keychain. Another keychain. 2 hats. A USA hat. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not really a hat guy, so this could be a gift. We got a USA hat. A PBD podcast hat. It's actually kind of sick. I like the white. Pretty fresh. Future looks bright. Theme. What does that say on the back? Does that say Valuetainment? Oh yeah, Valuetainment. Pretty sick, pretty clean, right? And yeah, keep it moving here. So I got not one t-shirt, allegedly. Not 2 t-shirts. Valuetainment here. Now these are all pretty large shirts, so these are totally gonna be gifts for sure. And then hold on, my brightness just went crazy. Let's bring that back down. Okay. Another, not 3 shirts, allegedly, but 4 t-shirts. 2 blues, 2 blacks. Not my size, that's okay. They didn't know. They were just probably just throwing gear in here, going crazy. So those will be gifts. Or really, really big house shirts. I mean, that alone, 4 t-shirts. You know, t-shirts nowadays are like, what, $30, $40? So 30, 60, 90, 120. How much is a hat nowadays? A hat is usually like $30, $40, right? So just the t-shirts, these 2 hats alone, that's already over 150 bucks. We got a mug. How much is a mug? Like 10 bucks. And then we got keychains here. Future looks bright. I mean, I'm like, what is going on? Here we go. It's like another, stuff I can throw on the car. Valuetainment. Future looks bright. I'm like, okay, that's sick. This is already like well over 150 bucks. Then what we got here, give me a little wallet. I was like, okay. Nice. I forgot what they call it. It's a money clip, right? Something like that. Another, what, keychain? I was like, this is sick. Don't know how much that is. That's got to be like, what, 50 bucks? 40 bucks? And then, even more, look. IMVT, Future Looks Bright, Angry Patriot. Shout out to Vinny. Then, took it a step further. I said, hold on, okay. I said, what is this? What is this thing? So I had opened this up. I'm like, I was like, oh, too young to understand this. Looked at my wife. I said, babe, I think this is like for the cigars, So I'm not a cigar smoker, but I mean, this is sick. if you're someone that smokes cigars, like this is the clip, right? Where you chop the front part of it, right? I think. So you go like that. I'm like, that is, how much does this cost? This has to be over $100. This has to be over $100. Then I was like, telling my wife, I was like, is this a lighter? I was like, that is sick. I'm like, what? I don't even know how to use this. Look at that. What does that even do? So that's definitely a lighter. I don't know what that does. That is sick, right? And then my best guess is that this is like a smoking ashtray, right? Sick. So you like lay the cigar just like that, right? And when you come back to it, keep smoking it. So I have to say that there's $300+ worth of value in here. So literally all the money that I spent on gear, the gear that I actually ordered, was about $300-ish with tax. And all of this, another $300+ worth of value. This is like Christmas gifts I can give to a friend, stuff that I could, maybe eventually use for myself. Could probably take one of these, throw it like that off to the side, and that'll be a part of my whiteboard decoration. But that is super cool. So just wanted to share that with you all. Thought it was pretty fun that I got that. And now going into finishing off the rest of this week, this Friday, it's an all-day event. It's an all-day business planning workshop, I think from like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning all the way to 8, 9 o'clock at night. And it's a type of business planning workshop that you've never done before. I can guarantee anyone in here that's been a part of any kind of business planning workshop, you attend this one, night and day difference. Night and day difference. Because it combines emotion and logic coming together. You get the logistical frameworks on how to build a business, strategic building blocks, but then you also get the emotional framework. How do we process our emotions as entrepreneurs, as someone that's wanting to start a business for the first time, someone that has a family, someone that's married with kids? How do you process those dynamics, your emotions, her emotions, everyone's emotions around you, to pretty much win your surroundings, get everybody on board with a singular mission, vision for the future to better your household? I've never seen any kind of workshop that in a very wonderful way, just in sync, brings both together. So that emotion can be translated to faith, spiritual discernment, and just our behaviors, how we show up, how we respond, how we act, how we think, how we have certain fears as entrepreneurs, as new business owners. And then the logistics: what's working today, what to be expected, what are my blind spots. So being able to learn from a multi millionaire, someone who's been in business for 2, 3 decades, someone who has built a very large social media following and strategically used that for their business to expand, do all these different things. It's great to get that kind of insight, and then I'm able to apply it to my level. So I don't feel like whenever Patrick speaks, when you're listening to someone you admire online, but they're light years ahead of you, they're just on a whole nother, in a whole nother universe. essentially. So sometimes it can be hard to relate. Like, okay, thank you for sharing that. How can I apply that as someone who's only making 50 grand a year, 100 grand a year? Whereas he will dumb it down, not in a lesser intellectual way, but he'll break it down where it's relevant to someone making 100,000 a year, a million a year, 10 million a year, 50 million a year, 100 million a year. He's able to work the crowd in a way, but also feel like he's speaking directly to each person through the frameworks that he provides. And it's an all-day event, but then there's ongoing, work that comes after it. So it's like you're planning, then after the event, all action, you're ready to start 2026 in 2026 rather than trying to plan for 2026 in 2026 to then get started in 2026 to not really get started till Q2, right, of the year, halfway into the year, versus you do it now, December 12th, business planning workshop. You get ready for the holidays. You've got your plans, you've got your targets, you've got your action steps, and then you have the greatest year you've ever had in your business going into 2026. So that's something that I'm doing for myself. I'm constantly always trying to improve, right? Personally improve, physically improve, spiritually improve my craft so that I can master what it is I've been called to do on this planet and then serve you all at the highest level, right? So with that, that's all I have for you today. Appreciate your time. God bless you. I have a link in the chat for the business planning workshop. If you want to sign up for that and be a part of that with me, you'll see me on the Zoom, on the virtual, and we could even like network and collaborate with each other on the work and then even hold each other accountable. How cool would that be? So if you're someone watching that has not yet started a business, but you want to, you desire to, you're called to, you already have a business, you're growing your business, and you're looking for ways to invest in yourself because that's the best investment. A lot of us get sidetracked with trying to make all this money or trying to invest in other people's things for a rate of return and forget that your greatest rate of return is yourself, your ability to improve yourself. The problem is you don't see the rate of return right away in the form of a number. Over time, it absolutely does. And every time my clients ask me, what should I invest in, Denzel? That's a red flag. Whenever I hear someone say, what should I invest in? That means they do not believe in themselves enough to answer that question. So they delegate what they believe they lack in to give money to another institution, to someone else, in hopes of a rate of return, rather than saying, how can I invest in myself to improve my skills, gifts, and talents, to then reveal that into the marketplace, to then get paid abundantly, not 8% rate of return, not 10% rate of return, not 15% rate of return. No, we're talking 100, 200, 500,000 plus rate of return on average when you truly invest in yourself, take the action that's required of it, do the work that's required, put the time in that's required, pray over it, submit that to the Father, have tremendous amount of success in a shorter period of time, then you take that excess cash flow. Now we can begin to put money over here. Bitcoin, boom. Stock market, boom. Real estate, boom. Insurance protection, boom. Tax-free accounts, boom. You start taking the excess from the money-making machine that you built, which is your own capability to produce wealth. And when you fully see that paradigm shift that, oh, okay, I can take $1, make it $5, $10 over here, 500%, 1000% plus rate of return over and over and over and over and over again. Do that enough times, then take the proceeds, the profits, and begin to deploy it into compounding accounts, income producing assets outside of myself, now that I have the confidence in my own ability to take a dollar and multiply it. Most of us wander through life for 40, 50, 60 years, never answering that question, how we can take a dollar and multiply it so many times over before it ever leaves our economy. We're so fixated on investing in things outside of ourselves and hoping and praying that it'll produce enough for us to live a life that we can enjoy. And that is truly a pipe dream. It truly is. If you don't figure out how to increase your own personal development, personal skills, gifts, and talents, release that into the marketplace, be a blessing onto others, then you're always going to be chasing money. And anybody that chases money, you're prone to losing it. You're prone to making decisions that you ultimately don't want to make. And you're prone to putting yourself into desperation mode. You're desperate to get the money rather than believing you have the capacity to create that wealth yourself, be a blessing unto others, give at the highest level, provide crazy amount of hospitality and customer service, and then be taken care of in abundance, then take that access and leverage compounding asset accounts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'll leave you with that. God bless you all. Thank you for your time. And stay tuned in. I got videos being dropped almost daily now. And we're still doing our series on how to find the right HELOC in the second position. I've got more videos of those coming out soon. My goal is to cover all 50 states in America, put that in a playlist, and give you guys that framework for those of you that are doing velocity banking. And then I'll be starting another series going into the new year on how to find the right first lien HELOC, and then we'll talk PLOC. We'll probably do like a combination, and we'll go from there. God bless you all. Thank you for your time. Again, link right there. Sign up for the business planning workshop. I get nothing for this, by the way. I'm not getting paid. I'm literally a fanboy. That's what it is. At the end of the day, I'm literally just a big supporter of their business, their merch, what they do, who they serve. So I'm just showing love. All right. Have a wonderful day. God bless. Talk soon. Bye now.